So we're going to be able to practice all of our portfolio presentations with each other. I'm going to be leading those sessions, and you'll get the feedback you need to actually improve on the most important part. So once you do get the call and you go in person, I think that tends to be the part where a lot of people are not presenting their best, and it is for a lack of practice. So this course is going to give you several opportunities for you to practice this with your mentor, within the group, and with me as well. And then in the last portion of the course, we're going to give you a little plan. So it's not going to be ideal for y'all to join a job that doesn't have the structure, and we hope that you do find a job that has a structure with a design manager and several other designers with you. However, in the case that you do not, I have also offered a way to look at the first 30, 60, and 90 days of your job. And you can look at me as your first manager if those of you who don't have the support. And the reason why I put this in was because I'm a designer who started alone. And I was alone for the majority of my career. And I used external resources in order to provide my own community because I didn't have a team for the bulk of my career, for my IC career. And then eventually I became a manager and built my own team, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the point is, I was mostly an independent designer working within a company, the only designer amongst engineers, data scientists, other people. And so I was given a very unique experience, and I can offer that up by giving you more support because I do think you do need it if you do land in those environments. So that's the wrap up of the core syllabus. I'd love to, I think there's a poll here about what your background is. If Madeline, you could pull it up. So a few of you are brand designers, which I was kind of shocked by, and graphic design, student, other, and developer. So graphic design, I'm assuming you could also mean product designer, so those of you who voted. But for those of you who are print graphic designers, if it makes you feel better, I'm a formally trained print graphic designer. So that is where I started, and I went into tech. So it is for those of you who are worried about making that switch, it's totally possible. And if anything, you're in a better place if you make that switch from there. So hi, yay. Okay, I'm getting quite a few of you that are saying yay. Hi. We're going to go from paper to the computer. Turns out it's pretty much the same, so don't worry. It's just slightly different. A bunch of you are students and other. So I'd love to dig into your others. 2D animator. Of the ones who voted other, what are you? What are you doing?
Oh no! Lost Helen again for this blasted snowstorm or hailstorm in San Fran is really messing with us today. Hey Elsa, I recognize you as one of our Dribble students. Thanks for joining us. When Helen comes back, she will go through the polls, but I see that the others, we've got digital product owner, we've got web design, a full-time parent. Yep, that is a full-time job. We've got Miriam, entrepreneur, switching from a radio producer, Jung. Wow, incredible. A whole range of different backgrounds here. Wendy has got a background in IT, but is currently unemployed, probably looking to make that shift into product. Evan is digital graphic designer. Hey, Evan. Evan's one of our other Dribble students from our other courses as well. Great to see you here. Wow. Factory is a jewelry designer. Amazing. I see Helen in the green room, but without video. So I'll wait till the video is on. Awesome. We've got Helen back, and I will put her on stage now.
Thanks for being patient, everyone. I brought Canada with me to California, so I really do have to apologize for that, and that's what's messing up the internet. But really cool to see Yeah, I know, right? It's crazy. Really cool to see all of y'all come from different backgrounds. I'm also an entrepreneur, and I love I love seeing other people aside from designers like myself who are formally trained as well. Um, so I'd love to also know where you are in your career searching. So if Madeline, you can pull that poll up as well. Okay, a bunch of you have just graduated. Bunch of you haven't started applying now and applying but unsuccessful. So great. So the course is going to be great for those of you who haven't started but have some work. So the course does expect you to have some collateral for us to sort through and actually refine. So you need to be able to have had some work that you've done by yourself or some volunteer work or some freelance work, whatever it is that you're pulling from in order to create the portfolio. And you can do that without, but it's going to be very difficult, and you'll find that the speed may be a little bit overwhelming if you are creating the pieces while also building the portfolio at the same time. Ideally, you have some work completed, and that we can pull from that, and the mentors can pick out like what imagery is really great, best, what presentation tools may be more beneficial for you. Those of you who are applying now, that's really great. We can take a look at your portfolio and refine it a little bit more and work with you on your presentation skills, which may be why you are less successful speaking to the last group. Um, so I'd love to, if maybe you want to use the QA and ask questions about why you think you may be unsuccessful, we can talk about that. That would be beneficial probably for the whole group. Um, but why don't I? Yeah, sorry. A boot. Did I say a boot? That's so embarrassing. All right. Um, why don't we do some Q&A because I'm getting tired of hearing my own voice here. Okay. Madeline, do you want me to just go ahead and... Oh, okay. Would the session help people with no experience or design, or is it for an established designer? I wouldn't say it's for an established designer. So I would expect, as I said previously, that you do have some work. Because if you don't have some work, it's going to be hard for you to actually build the portfolio itself. Because a portfolio is itself another project. You need to be able to have content to put in it. We'll work you through what to write. We'll work you through the how to actually produce the images or what to display, but we're not going to work you through the actual creation of that. Dribble does have another course called the product design course, which would be able to give you these pieces that you need if you don't have them at all. Do we get help with the actual building of the portfolio? Yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over all of the various ways you can do that. So, as you know, you can do a website, you can use social media. I'll walk you through various ways that you can look at building a portfolio, and then we'll also take a look at a pitch presentation as well. So the portfolio is actually two pieces. So what tends to happen with a lot of these courses, if there's another career prep course you've seen before, they don't do both. And so I did both. So I wanted to produce a portfolio that you can sit on a website or a social media portfolio or the Dribble portfolio itself. And then, as well, a companion piece that comes with you to the interview that is targeted towards that conversation. And I can show you what mine actually looks like, my actual pitch presentation. So why don't we do? Let's hope the hail stops and I don't get cut off here. But I'll just present. I'll show you what landed me my last job. So I am a designer of about 14 years, so what they expect from me may be a little bit different from you. So I want to give you that context here. But I have two giant case studies. And so this is a really good example. Like, you don't really need 3 or 10, but you need to be able to tell two really good stories, even one really good story. Once I saw in an interview, totally landed the job. So really depends on how complex these stories are. My stories are extremely complex. This pitch presentation takes about an hour to go through, and it's because typically what the interviews I'm going through are quite are more senior. But essentially, at some point, you'll be able to have a portfolio like this. And so my first case study is actually, it spans 3 years, which is why it takes so long. So I go through the various problems of the company, I go through the scope, um, the starting team, the amount of work that we did. And as I'm going through all of these are just pictures, right? I'm talking through all of this. This is just something that I'm able to do because I've just memorized a lot of it. Because it's your own work, it should be easy to kind of remember. And then this is like an outcome deck. So being able to tell them what I was able to produce as a person, and taking credit for it, taking the space, and saying this is what you'll get if you hire me. And then my second startup, same thing, walking through the problem so they understand it, walking through all of the work that was done, walking through management, all of the other things, raising the actual metrics that I was working against, and the actual user kind of comments about my work. So these are two vastly different stories. One is about leadership and management, and the second one is about ability to get a product from 0 to 1, which is coming from nothing, bringing it to market, raising a few $1 million for it, um, and that's really it. So I hope that was helpful in getting kind of overview into the second piece that we'll walk you through. All right, next question. How are students paired with mentors? Nope. Yep. Okay. Madeline, you want to go with that one?
I could take this one on as it's more of a logistical question about our mentors. So we've got mentors all around the world in different time zones, and we match you guys as students with mentors who are available at your time. So it's super flexible that way. We don't expect you to join a session when you're in your full-time work or join a session when it's dinner time for you. So how this works sort of step by step is when you register for the course, you get the option to fill in when you want your mentor session time. So say it's 10 a.m., you pay for the course and then you click that you want your session time at 10 a.m. Our education team on the back end matches you guys with the mentor that is free at 10 a.m. If you wanted to do a course, the course mentor session at 6 p.m., we match you with a mentor that is also free at 6 p.m. So we work to your timeline and your availability. Like I said, we've got industry expert mentors from all around the world who are available at any time. So super flexible like that. If you have any other questions about mentorship or how we match you and the sort of times that are available, then reach out to Alona and we will be able to help you.
Thanks, Madeline. All right, next question. Are we going to get help with building out resumes and cover letters to bypass some of those ATS trackers? Yes, actually, I mentioned that in the course. And funny story, I used to work at a recruiting firm when I was 17 to 19. And the reason why you can't bypass those ATS trackers is because y'all try too hard. So I do cover that in the resume and cover letters, but it tends to be that they're unable to parse complicated column layouts, complicated colors, complicated artifacts. Unicode characters will mess up those systems. So honestly, the more boring your resume is, the better it is. This comes counter to what I learned in design school. Actually, we had a whole course about portfolio prep. It lasted a whole year, and they asked us to make like fancy resumes. And as a result, none of us could get through those those systems, and they were extremely frustrating to put into job application forms because they would strip all of the formatting and then everything would come out all jumbled. I mean, that is basically the answer, but I do cover that in the course. Would this be helpful if I am already in a product design position but want to increase the quality of the companies that want to hire me? Yes, 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 yes. This is the actual process that I use to get my last job. And it was kind of fun to build this course while I was looking for my last position. And it was because I was being very targeted and I wanted the perfect fit for me and not necessarily, the next trendy company. So we're going to work with you on your mindset, your ability to understand what quality means for you, specific to you. I think everyone can say, I want to work at Google or Meta, whatever. But as I found, as I've become more experienced, that I actually don't want to work at Google or Meta. No diss on people who work there, but I wanted to work for a place that fit me and my personality and my strengths. And so I used this exact same process to find a position, and I put that in the course for you. So, if it would be a great, you'd probably get a lot out of it. Are we able to select and meet the mentors ahead? I think, Madeline, did you cover that?
Yes, another mentor question. Are we able to select to meet the mentors ahead of enrollment to ensure fit? Unfortunately, we don't do sort of mentor meetings ahead of time. We match you and your mentors based on your time zone and your availability. That being said, the mentors go through a rigorous application process. A lot of the mentors that we are having on board for our career prep course have been mentors for our product design course and our UI design course, so they are vetted. We only take mentors who are 4 or more years in the design industry at reputable companies. And like I said, they go through a rigorous application process to become a dribble mentor and a training process. So rest assured that they do all meet a very high bar of quality.
How do you start with a portfolio if you don't have previous professional experience? It's a good idea to do case studies or improvements on established projects. So these are two questions. I'm gonna start with the first one. How do you start with a portfolio? So this is true even if you went through training school. Every designer just creates their own sort of projects to show off what you can do. And this course kind of covers exactly how you would do that. So I think a lot of designers will come up with anything and just dump it into their portfolio. But if you know what job you're targeting, we'll work with you on figuring out what type of projects are great for showing the skill sets needed to aim for that job. Um, and then you creating the work wouldn't be such a waste of time, because sometimes I find designers doing this for the very first time. You'll do whatever, and as a result, the person looking at your portfolio will be like, what do I need this person for? They're just doing whatever. So it's a little bit more of a targeted approach. So how do you start a portfolio? Make sure you know what you want, and then do the thing that will get you what you want. And number two, is it a good idea to do case studies or improvements on established projects? It depends. So improvements on established products, if you're doing very minor interaction work, or if you're doing visual aesthetic work and you are looking for a position in which that's all you do, you can offer up ways to display information that is different than the established product. And I chose those words very carefully, because I think what happens is designers try to redesign a product without any understanding of what the product is, who the product is for, and any of that other information. And that's a big no-no, because a product designer is supposed to have that information in order to actually do their job well. So what often happens is I find that designers will redesign established products, and it won't make any sense to a hiring designer that already, like a hiring manager like me, will know exactly why certain products look a certain way or act a certain way, or maybe I have a little bit more of a background than you, or even, God forbid, I used to work at that company. So um, you may be shooting yourself in the foot. I wouldn't say it can't be done, but it has to be done very carefully. So do that with a grain of salt. Would love to know more about the professional network you offer. So Madeline, I think Dribble can tell you.
Yes, good question. So, when you graduate the course, you are put onto a graduate's landing page. This is a page that displays everyone who's graduated the courses and then also their Dribble profiles. We send those pages around to our network of hiring managers. So, as Dribble, its main business line is hiring. So, we have thousands and thousands of active, tens of thousands of active hiring managers and companies looking for designers just like you guys. They post job adverts on Dribble, and we connect those folks to our pool of talent. So we send your guys' portfolios around to our active network of hiring managers at the end of the course. That's one way we connect you guys. And then we also put that graduate landing page in our newsletter every quarter. That is another way. And then we also are using a sort of job placement CRM that you guys will have during the course. This is a way that you could organize and track your job interviews and like your applications. So your mentors will also provide job links to you and help you track where you are in that process through our CRM. That way we could get really nitty gritty into what point of the process you are falling off. If you get all of your interviews up until your applications up until interview, your mentor could work with you on that interview piece.
Is this course also included in the coming 16 weeks product design course? No, it's not included. I'm currently working as UI designer and want to transition to the UX field as well. Will this course be helpful for me? So it really depends on if you have some knowledge of the what you call the UX field. Dribble does have a product design course that may be more helpful for you if you want to work on those skills first prior to actually producing the portfolio. But once you have some examples, then and you're ready to actually produce the portfolio, then you come over my way. I think we covered this at the very beginning. So you can also check the info page on Dribble's website itself, which will give you an overview of the course. Yeah, so I don't think, your age, I'm assuming this is related to age, it really matters. It's just whether or not you think you're ready to actually produce the portfolio. So, hey, I started really young too. I started coding when I was 13. So I already had some portfolio pieces by the time I graduated high school. So if you were one of those people and you have work that we can pull from, then this course is valuable. If It's also extra value because at the very beginning of the course I actually tell you what you're going to experience in the tech world. So instead of you just kind of going in blindly, you'll get like a good overview into what the actual industry looks like. So it would be valuable, although you would get a lot more out of it if you had some work to actually refine. To have the most success in the program, what should we ideally have completed? Would you recommend our online portfolio with 3 projects be completed prior to the course? So it doesn't need to be like fully completed. I don't know what you mean by completed, but if you have a portfolio already, that's great. What we're going to do is we're going to take a look at all of that and see where you uh, may consider improving either the imagery or the actual copy. And we're going to also be looking at the jobs that you may be targeting and seeing if your portfolio pieces actually match up to your ideal job. So you would get a lot of it if you already have a portfolio. Ideally, you should have some projects actually completed. It doesn't necessarily need to be in portfolio format because we'll do that in the course. But ideally, you should have some work. Yeah, how do you land a job if you don't have any experience? I actually cover that in the course as well. But the short answer to it is you make experience or you do it anyway. That was my path. So my path was I actually demanded some guy hire me, and I did it um, through a lot of just forcing people to hire me. And you could do that by showing your value prior to actually getting the job. And when I say showing your value, I don't mean actually doing work for free, because I'm not a proponent of that, but also because I came from a background in which that was not a possibility for me. So what I did was, instead, I hung around a lot of entrepreneurs and founders, and actually just kind of like butted into a lot of conversations and tried to show my value, and said, and followed it up with, hey, I'm also looking for work. If you want more of this, then I'm happy to work with you. Does your portfolio really make a difference, or is it your resume? This is such a great question, because the truth is, mostly no one looks at your resume. Oh my god, it's shocking. I know. I don't think I read that many resumes, to be honest. I've probably looked through thousands of designers. Your portfolio is the thing that will get you hired. It is your resume. I mean, it is a resume, right? A resume is just a listing of things that you've done. Portfolio is the exact same thing. So why would anyone follow that up? Like, if they looked at your portfolio and they liked it, why would they read your resume? I think what this question can possibly allude to is credentialism in the industry. So I want to speak a little bit about that. So, like, some people will notice that people treat you differently when they're like, "Oh, I used to work at Facebook," and then the hiring manager may be like, "Oh, they worked at Facebook." So what that gives them is like, "Oh, thank God, I don't have to like teach them all of these things that I would have otherwise had to teach someone else." So credentialism is a thing in the industry. I'm not going to say that it's not, but you don't necessarily want to work for those people. Is it normal to get ghosted, either before or after presenting a portfolio piece? It's happened more than twice to me. Unfortunately, yes. So I've also gotten ghosted, not during the last process, but the ones before that. So the less experienced you are, the more likely you are to be ghosted. And I think it's two parters. It tends to be that junior designers apply to companies that are also inexperienced in managing and hiring. And so what you'll get, the reason why you get ghosted is not necessarily you. Sometimes it really is the company. Like, they have terrible hiring practices. I mean, that is awful for them to have you come in person and do an interview and just ghost you. That is totally rude and an awful hiring practice that is common. And then another thing is, uh, yeah, like, if something happened during the portfolio presentation, I can't tell you what it is. But that can happen as well. And it could be because you said something. People have been ghosted for saying offensive things during interviews. I've sat through interviews like that. And so anything could have happened that would have led to the ghosting. Most of the time, it's the company. I think it's pretty poor practice. But we'll go over the presentations over and over and over again, so that you can make sure that you're not doing any of these like big red flags that could lead to that. Would we work on our interests and help us define where we want to work? I'm starting out in the whole new digital world. Yes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an overview in the course of the various types of roles that you can have as a designer in tech. And then you'll think about what portfolios are best suited to gain those types of jobs. So if you are a designer with a strong illustrative background, if you want to continue doing that, you can still take this course. I am a product designer, but it's not targeted only to product designers. Will we stick with the first chosen time zone? That's a Madeline question.
Hi, I'll actually answer this one.
Okay.
So the way that the mentor sessions work is that you choose the time that works best for you. So Madeline had mentioned time zones, but it might be that it's more so based on questions that we get from a lot of students who are worried that, if they're in Australia and we're all Canadian, that it will be only in Canadian time zones. So you would choose the mentor session times that work best for you. That being said, those mentor sessions are going to be the same every single week. So if you say 8 a.m. your time on Wednesdays, it will be that time consistently every single week of the course. There might be other sessions that happen at different times, but for the actual mentor sessions and those group that group time together, it will be the same every single week. I do also want to mention that within the mentor groups, there's about 10 to 15 people in the groups. We try to keep them small. But beyond working with your mentor, you do also have kind of classmates to work with and get feedback from as well. Hopefully that answered your question.
Sorry, y'all. I've been missing your chats because the Q&A screen. All right, let's go on to the next Q&A. Should my portfolio be accessible in various formats? Yes. So we'll go over that as well. But yeah, it should be available in as many formats as possible, just to help you in the interview process. Also, it's really good to just be able to like ping off whatever format they ask for and not scramble. So we're just going to prepare you for all scenarios. Will this help for non-coders and designers, but rather analysts? So what type of analyst? Are you a data analyst? Let's move on. If you have a follow-up, feel free to put into the chat.
Helen, we've also got someone who's up for coming on stage, so I'll invite her in.
Yeah, stage people, yeah.
Yeah, get some face-to-face interaction.
Okay, great. Yeah, let's do it.
Hi, Helen.
Hey, Rita, how are you?
Yeah, good. I just really wanted to address my question, and it's related to mentors, but I think your input could also be super valid because we do choosing the mentors based on the time zone, but is it also relevant to consider the field? So then the product designer portfolio creation and like all the steps will be guided by the product designer, not, for example, brand designer, because it's still a little bit different taste there. So is that something that we also take into account or not really?
They should be able to guide you through it because the course itself covers what you should be thinking about for your portfolio. So as long as they're aware of what your target is, so the course will start out by walking you through picking a target and what your ideal job should look like and what your portfolio should look like to actually match that. I do cover brand designers in the course. So you should be able to follow what the course says in order to do that. And your mentor will actually help you shape your portfolio in that direction. So it should be more than fine.
Okay, that's it. Thank you so much. Nice
Yeah.
to meet you.
Could you tell me what product design is according to you and what challenges we might be facing? I really hope my definition is the same as everyone's definition, but product design is a designer that can take a product from 0 to 1. And 0 to 1 is the ability to understand what a customer needs in order to solve their desired outcome or their desired problem. So I want to say desired outcome because sometimes people don't have problems. like a lot of like social apps fall under that umbrella. They don't come from real problems. Like Instagram wasn't a real problem, but it came out of somewhere and people loved it. So their desired outcome. So you should be able to take a group of people, study them, identify what they want or need, creates a solution for it. So it could be an app, it could be a website, it could be a physical product, and what challenges you might be facing. So that's rather long, and we only have 8 minutes here. But I think probably the most challenging thing is being able to find the right environment to support the type of work that you need to do. That will be a problem throughout your entire career, by the way. Um, as a junior, doesn't being very targeted limit our options drastically? No. So actually, I have a couple of designers. I spoke to a couple of more experienced designers as well when I was creating this. Generally, the consensus is actually no, because what we find is a lot of junior designers try to find any job, and it's very difficult for people to fit you in. And I talk about this in the course. A hiring manager has a hole to be filled, and you need to fit in that hole. You know those like toy block toys when you were a little kid. I don't know if you guys maybe I'm too old for this. There used to be a toy when I was a kid that had multiple holes in a box, and you had these shapes, and you had to fit the shape into the shaped hole. So the triangle shape had triangle object had to go into the triangle shaped hole. That is basically what a hiring manager is looking to do when they're looking at a portfolio, and they're looking at hundreds of portfolios at the same time. So if you're a junior presenting to them, I can do anything, guess what? They don't actually know what to do with you. Is there an interview process to determine if this program is the right program for our goals? Yeah, I believe Dribble. Dribble, do you offer Madeline? I'm using Madeline as a Dribble's avatar.
Is there an interview process to determine if this program is the right program for our goals? Not so much an interview process. Of course, you could come and register for the course if you self-determine that you are right for the course. But if you wanted to chat to our education team at Dribble to sort of determine if this course is the right fit, if you are going to get as much as you can out of it, or if you need to maybe do some other learning and join one of our other courses, then please reach out to Alona, who heads up our admissions. She has our calendar available, and you could jump on a call with her. Yeah, that's what I'd say about that. Thanks.
Is there any more face? It's a funny video. Any more face questions? I love face questions, everyone. If not, we can go over. I have 5 minutes and then I have stand up. But if we have more face questions, I'd love to do them.
No more face questions at the moment, but please raise your hand in the question and answer on the panel of the chat. We have enough time to get one person up onto stage. Would love to see and hear from you guys.
Yes, face question. Yeah. Hey.
Hey, Helen. I'm Sherry.
Hey.
Nice to meet you. I just wanted to say, first off, thank you so much for the great session. It was super informative. I'm currently trying to transition from a product strategy role into product design, and I'm taking a separate boot camp, but thought that Dribble's programs are like really unique and super great. While I finish up that boot camp, what would you say are is like your top advice for preparing for your course?
You don't need to ultra prepare as long as you have some work. So the course will walk you through like actually compiling all of the stuff, thinking about what you need to think about for the portfolio, and that process takes a few weeks. So you don't need to feel like you need to over prepare for this.
Okay,
So,
awesome.
yeah.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
We unfortunately lost Maria, who is having some tech issues, but we've got a couple of minutes. So how about we answer one or two more written questions? We don't have anyone else coming on stage.
Sure. Design Patty. Oh my gosh. That sounds way cooler than I actually am, guys. Is it possible to have a good case study without quantitative results of a project? Very good question. Yes and no. So, a good case study is one that is tailored to whatever goal, right? So, tends to be that heavily aesthetic design work doesn't have quantitative results, but you could talk about it in a quantitative way. So the way it's phrased matters. So I'll use like a separate example. If you did a packaging for a series of products and it was beautiful, and you could you could frame it as the quantitative results as how many units sold or the revenue impact to the business. So there is a way for you to do that if it's necessary. If you find that it's not necessary, for example, you're a brand designer, you may find that it's really not necessary for you to have quantitative results, in which case I encourage you to have some sort of outcome that is qualitative. So it is important for you to have some sort of outcome. Whether or not it's qualitative or quantitative is really based on what you're trying to do with your case study. What's next? Oh, where'd it go? Will having an animation background help with landing a job once I finish the product design course? I don't. I don't. mm, I guess the question is a little bit confusing to me. I'm not sure if you're asking me if animation is helpful for the portfolio or if it's helpful for landing a job. If you're targeting motion design specifically, like an interaction designer type of role, it's hugely helpful because a lot of the motion designers in the industry today don't actually have all of the more advanced animation knowledge that you would get from an animation background. So you'll understand motion and natural motion a little bit better than the majority of product designers. So you may find that you want to focus on a specific interaction design job. And a really, really great, there's a designer that's really especially great at that, but he works for Arc Browser. So if you guys want to look up that company, Arc Browser, it's that new internet browser, but they have a full team of designers that specialize in animation. So if that's the type of work that you want to do, then yeah, it would be great for landing a job. Any additional skills, like there's never any skill where anyone's like, man, it really sucks that you have this skill. It's just whatever job that you may have may not use it. So if you want a job that uses that skill, it's always a bonus.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Helen. We will wrap it up there as we are at the top of the hour, but wanted to give you a massive, massive thank you for coming to do this Q&A session with us. And thank you to everyone who spent an hour with us learning about our 8-week career prep course.
Yeah, if you have thanks for coming. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to, if you want to just loudly tweet me on Twitter, I'm happy to answer any of your questions.
Thank you so, so much, Helen. We will see you in the course, and I'm super pumped that you created this course for Dribbble. Bye.
Bye. Thanks, everyone.
A quick wrap up. We will be sending you an email with this recording of this session so you could watch it back. And then we'll also be sending in that email the 15% discount code along with Alona's Calendly. So if you did have any questions, I know that there are loads of questions that we didn't get to and you want to ask, please book a call with Alona. She will be able to answer any of your questions. And like Helen said, you feel free to tweet her also. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. We really hope that you do take advantage of that 15% discount, and hope that we see you in the course. Have a great rest of the day, and we will see you very soon. Bye.